The learning intention of today's lesson is to understand freedoms and rights over time and within the current context of the world. The success criteria is that I will complete a source analysis of events within a historical context. So today's work can be completed in the Google Classroom. So you just need to go to your Google Classroom here, whatever your Google Classroom is. So this is 9Ds. Go to classwork, and it is the Analysing Sources question and answer sheet that you need to open, which has been assigned to every student. So on the question and answer sheet, it says, for each source, construct a list of rights and freedoms that people have fought for since 1945, 1945 being the end of World War II. So you need to look at each source and write some dot points on rights and freedoms that people have fought for since the end of World War II. So you write your answer under each source. I'm going to just explain the first one to you, and then you can go ahead and do the other sources. So source one is a map of the Asia-Pacific region, and it's the independence movement after World War II. Before World War II, a lot of these countries were colonies, particularly of Britain and also America, and you can see the countries listed here. So what this map is saying, that these countries all fought for their independence after World War II. So if you have a look at the date, looking at Pakistan West got their freedom in 1947. Vietnam and Cambodia got their freedom in 1954. So how can you answer the question, the rights and freedoms of people that have fought for? So this one, I would say, referring to the map, that the rights and freedoms that these countries have fought for is actual independence. So independence to be able to be their own country. Some of them their own, country in their own rights, with their own government, without any interference from any other country. And you can see the countries there. So that's how I would answer that question. I'd probably use an example and say, for example, Vietnam and Cambodia received their independence from France in 1954. So that's all you'd have to answer there. For each, there's a source, so there's 6 sources in total. So this is a source of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. after the March on Washington in 1969. So it tells you underneath what the source is. So from the above source, what rights and freedoms have people fought for in the context of this photo? This one is protesters outside the Aboriginal tent embassy. From the above source, what rights and freedoms have people fought for in the context of there? So you'd talk about Aboriginal protest and rights there. You can choose to, you can choose to research that further, or you can just choose from your own knowledge. It's up to you. Obviously, the more detail that you give, the better, and the more that you'll understand and learn. This one is protesters in Sydney holding up placards demanding that women be allowed to be train drivers. So this has got to do with the feminist movement. So you would refer to that in your answer, what rights and freedoms. So talk about maybe some feminist issues. And this one is another one that's to do with women protesters, and you can refer to that source there. So I said there are 6 sources. There are actually 5 sources. So for each source, you write the answer. Then there is a table at the end, and it says in the table below, write a list of freedoms and rights you have as a citizen living in Australia. So you just think about all the rights and freedoms that you have living in Australia. The first one might be freedom of speech. So you can put that there, freedom of religion. You come up with a list. Every list will be unique to each student. And then it says next to each of these freedoms and rights, highlight each one that is recently banned in this country due to COVID-19 pandemic. So next to this, you would say which right and freedom we don't have. So it might be all of them. It might be 1 or 2. And you might even just give a brief explanation. So, for example, it might be freedom of movement between places. Well, that's actually been restricted at the moment. So in my answer here, I'd say that has been restricted and there are fines that are put in place. So that's that question there. Once you've finished all the questions, you can submit it to your teacher. If I'm your teacher, submit it to me, and you'll get some feedback on that.